The covert versus the overt narcissist. People with the narcissistic personality disorder may come across as a mixture of both the overt and covert types, and they can fit the description of both types of the narcissistic personality categories. The overt-covert can cross over. A covert can act confident around certain people, and an overt can play the victim if it meets a need of their own. Some people can have one or two of the narcissistic personality traits, and they can just be a fool or a negative person or have a different personality type. The best things to look out for is, do they seem entitled? Even if they don't always act it, do they seem it? Do they seem to exploit others? Do they lack in empathy? Do they put others down? Do they seem jealous of others? Do you feel like you're losing or you've lost who you are? Do they seem to put you down? Do you feel uncomfortable around them? Is your anxiety levels rising? Do you start things with, this might sound stupid? Even if you're not dealing with someone on the disorder, you're dealing with a toxic person, and you have to decide for yourself to find a safe way to step away. I'm Elizabeth Shaw. Welcome to the channel, which is to give people more understanding about those that they might be dealing with in their life, how to handle them if they can't go no contact, and ways to recover from narcissistic abuse. If you are new to the channel and you find the information of value, please do subscribe and hit the notification bell. Videos are released weekly, so if you just want to check in, I always recommend doing it when you're in a good frame of mind, so that listening to this kind of thing doesn't drag you too much into the past, more to give you knowledge and awareness of the things that are happening around you and to recover from narcissistic abuse. So we have the typical classic grandiose narcissist. They can and they will play the victim like a covert narcissist. If it gets them out of any form of consequences, an overt will play the victim. Yet it's often done with calculating, manipulative methods to get themselves out of trouble. Often they don't believe they are a victim, as in their minds they are better than all others, and no one would get one over on them. They've made themselves the victim to escape accountability, and again within their minds it will be your fault that they had to do this. An introverted overt will believe they are unique and special, but they'll believe themselves to be the victim as those around them don't seem to agree with the covert theory that they are special. They'll still exploit others. In covert methods, it's more of if you hadn't or I wouldn't. The overt is more you deserved it and yes, I did. Overt versus covert, you've got the shy versus the arrogant, the introvert versus the extrovert, the impulsive versus the calculated. Now, not all introverts are narcissistic and not all extroverts are narcissistic. The same, it's looking for those things. Do they have genuine empathy? Do they exploit people? Looking for those kinds of signs within people around you. Overt narcissism, these are usually the grandiose narcissists, but not always. They are arrogant, boastful, and they can be expeditionists. Easily offended to criticism and rage can be close to the surface. They have a grandiose behaviour. They are demanding of specialised treatment. They want to and will often be known as the best at everything. They really need to be recognised for their uniqueness, believing they are superior to others. Their personality is to exploit people and very ruthless to gain power and control. They have the potential to be a public figure and often, but not always, have the power and the money. Always at the expense of those around them. A lot will not secure success and will simply make up great stories and lies about their achievements or their false achievements in order to gain the recognition that has never been actually truly earned by them. Overt and covert narcissists have deep feelings of unworthiness. The overt narcissist will diminish, slander, and intimidate people just because of their own jealousy and insecurities. They have very high levels of distrust in others, believing probably because of how untrustworthy they genuinely are. The covert narcissist is usually a victim narcissist, but not always, as they are genuinely quieter, but still as dangerous and as painful to become involved with as an overt. Both overt and covert have intense feelings of shame and unworthiness. Coverts often lack the confidence to present a grand false self to the world, so they retreat to their inner world. They do as all narcissists do, and they just lie about who they are, what they've achieved, what's happened in their past. A covert narcissist can show signs of depression and can be withdrawn and project these feelings onto those closest to them. They are good at withholding and using passive-aggressive ways. So they'll withhold attention to suit their own need. The covert can explode, but it takes more... they need to be provoked more. I don't like saying provoking them, but you can criticise a narcissist without actually criticising them. They will take it as criticism. They take that as being provoked and they can react. And coverts often don't explode as easily through their own lack of confidence. Overts often believe themselves to be better than others, and they usually have an army of people who agree with them, so they are more outrageous and obvious in their ways. Both overt and covert lack a conscience and will project their own fears, insecurities, and damaged inner selves onto others by lying, manipulating, withholding attention, or abandoning. In fact, whatever tactic they can master to get any sort of reaction from other people, to get any sort of attention from you, they will use. Coverts are often anxious, pessimistic, unmotivated, and blames his or her past or other people for their insecurities and inadequacies. He or she may be a great drain on their partner. Most narcissistic people are drains on their partners, and they are often a parasite in using other people's money, resources, and energy that he or she cannot produce for themselves. They are highly exploitative and believe that they are entitled to take anything and everything they want, but can simply not be bothered contributing unless there is an ulterior motive attached. Overts are calculated, cunning, sly, and the masters of manipulation. Coverts act more on impulse. It's more the covert that will have multiple partners, not always, yet they move on quicker to avoid being exposed for their true selves. They don't want others seeing their deeply hidden insecurities or vulnerabilities. Overts can cheat, but often they have enough people sucked into their lies or reliant upon them or have fawned to their ways that those around them make them feel special on a more continuous basis. So they feel less need to cheat, although they are human. And if they are on the disorder, they are as capable of being a serial cheater, just like their covert counterpart. And both are capable of staying faithful, although this is rare. Recovery. One of the hardest things to do within ourselves to overcome narcissistic abuse is to stop dwelling in the pain of our past, to enjoy our present, and to move into a happier future. Those who've been through a narcissistic abusive relationship are not only left in a state of confusion, trying to reclaim reality and work out what indeed has happened to them, as well as build themselves back up from scratch. Their homes, jobs, friends, their entire lives can be taken away from them, and we can be left mentally and physically drained and utterly heartbroken, be it a parent, a partner, a friend, or a boss. It's not your fault. no one deserves to be treated this way. You might question, but they can be so nice. How can they have a personality disorder? A narcissist can treat you better than anyone ever has, and then they can treat you worse than anyone ever has. Coming out of any form of a relationship with a narcissist often leaves us in a state of disbelief, often feeling silly, stupid, like we've been used. And you are not silly, you are not stupid. They are manipulative. You are a good person. Usually because of our own perceptions, values, beliefs, kindness and trust in others, we make allowances for others' mistakes. And with their help of their gaslighting, blame shifting, the silent treatment and projecting their faults onto us, we can rationalise, make excuses, blame ourselves, give them the benefit of the doubt over and over again, or through fear of reactions. Fear no one will understand us, help or believe us. And if you've been left isolated, fear of being alone can keep us trapped within that cycle of abuse. When we finally awaken from the trance they put us under and finally break free, finally make that decision to leave for good, it can seem like a never-ending mountain to climb, and we are drained emotionally, physically, financially, often with the narcissist still playing their smear campaign and hideous games. So here are some top tips to practice daily to help you recover and move on to a much happier life with more freedom for you. Number 1, be patient and kind to yourself, and it takes time, work and effort from within yourself. If you've slipped up and reacted to them, had a knockback or just had a bad day, it's okay, these things happen. Deal with the emotions and then move on from that moment, as that is now in your past. 2, your happiness comes from within. Yes, it's nice to have external possessions. It's nice to have people, but happiness truly comes within. When we place our happiness on objects or people, that happiness can be taken away from us. So finding the things, finding the laughter in things, finding the way to make ourselves smile, finding the ways to pick ourselves back up, finding the ways to make our happiness come from within, and then get the external things that help keep people happy. But finding the happiness from within, whatever that is for you. 3, creating new routines. Sometimes we can miss the routines we had, so starting new ones, finding new hobbies, realising that now you only have to answer to yourself and do what's right for you. 4, release the toxic words out of your mind. And when we've been around these people, they poison our minds. Then our subconscious starts to work against us. Journaling, talking with trusted friends, support groups, coaches, psychologists, EMDR treatment to release it all from our minds. Our subconscious can place us within that self-doubt. And everyone has self-doubt. You have to give yourself the courage to do it anyway, to overcome those doubts. And, we all fail, we all make mistakes. We just have to get up and learn and do it again. 5, accept and acknowledge the truth and then forgive yourself. You have to realise you were manipulated and duped by an extremely toxic person who just wanted to use you for your good qualities. They did not care about you. They just wanted to hurt you. Your forgiving, kind and generous traits were used against you. Being a good person is nothing to be ashamed of. Learning to say no will become a deal breaker with these kinds of people in the future. And forgiveness. Remember, forgiveness is something for you. If you don't want to forgive, if you're unable to forgive, as long as you can move forward and live a happy life, that is up to you. 6, boundaries. No contact or grey rock with negative people. Practice the art of saying no to things that you don't want to do or don't accept behaviour from people that you wouldn't give yourself. Stick to your no. 7, accept that part of you in some way possibly knew. That part was most likely your instincts, and now is the time to tune into these and use them wisely. This is not and never is to blame yourself. You need to step away from blaming yourself. You need to pass responsibility back to the rightful owner for their behaviour. And yes, we do have to accept the things that we accepted that we should have never accepted. No one deserves to be abused. So it's more a case of learning to tune in, learning from your past how to tune into your instincts now. Perhaps at the beginning you thought something was off but didn't know what. And when it comes to your parents, it's difficult because you probably grew up knowing something wasn't right, but you can't really just walk out of the door at 3 years old and escape them. You were kind of stuck in that situation, but that doesn't have to affect your entire life. 8, heal and accept any old wounds or insecurities for you. As narcissists are predators who choose a target they know they'll be able to take down. Accept yourself for who you are. We all make mistakes. We all have that little bit of self-doubt. We all have those insecurities. What others think of us, that's not for us. That's their opinion. Our past is our past. Only we define ourselves, and get to know yourself so well that others will no longer be able to use you against you. And last, shift your focus. And you go through a period of time when you get drawn into your past and they're running around your mind. You might get so far where you're doing so well and then suddenly, boom, you think of something and you're back in the past again. And those memories are connected to those emotions. And when those emotions hit, you can then start to take yourself on a downward spiral. So learning how to shift your focus from the negative into the positive, finding the things to be grateful for. And it can be difficult depending on the situation you've been through or where you're at now. But finding the things to focus on that you're grateful for, finding the things to focus on in the present moment, or finding things to focus on that you want to achieve for your future. I shall add some links in the description to the online courses that I have available that give more of a step-by-step guide on how to help yourself recover from narcissistic abuse and give you more information all about the narcissist. Thank you very much for listening. If you have any advice for anybody, please do add it on into the comments. If you have any tips, please add those into the comments. Thank you. Have an amazing day. Bye.